This is the envelope imager 1, and it's fully assembled. Status. Hopper assembly or material guides, left and right. Elevation assembly controls the angle at which the envelopes enter the feed system. Thumb screw, gate tips. At the very bottom, you have these neoprene separator tips. Then you have your feed roller. Those are your entrance feed rollers. I'm just going to tighten this so it stays off the roller. This is your print heads. You have 3 of them for 1.5 inches of print. Each cartridge, HP 45A, covers a 1/2 inch of print. Pop the clip. Insert the cartridges and remove the cartridges when finished. Be careful not to damage the pogo pins. This is the head unit of the envelope imager 1. And once again, left and right, these are locking knobs. This is the up and down placement of the head for piece thickness, if you will. And then at the bottom of the machine we just have these non-driven feed rollers that allow the piece to exit, and then you have your actual exit roller itself. The top of the machine, you have the menu, start, online, offline, paper advanced test, local lock, paper length, very important. On the rear of the machine, you have your LPT port, power cord, and on-off button, as well as your serial tag with your serial number information.
We'll go over a few extra things on the Rena Imager 1. Let's go over setting up the separators to feed. This male piece, I'm mostly going to just use this guide here. So I'm just going to take this separator and push it all the way up. Unlock the thumb screw, lift it up, and get one piece underneath the separators. And lock it down. For something thin, you want to set it to 1 thickness. Maybe for envelopes, you may want to set it to 2. Take my stack paper. I'm just going to use paper for this example. Get a fan folded back a little bit. And then I'm going to hit the paper button. Oh, it's got to be offline. It seems to be feeding okay. Before I run it, I need to lock in the paper size. That's this key right here. If I hold it down for a few seconds, it's going to come up with an L on the right hand side there. That should feed one through and show you the measurements. It should be relatively close to what the actual piece actually measures. If it doesn't, do it again. Same again. So now I'm actually teaching the printer how long the piece is. If I want to check the print cartridges, make sure they're ready to start printing, I can tell it to print a purge pattern by holding down the start and tapping the next to the last key here. And it'll print a purge pattern. As you can see, that top cartridge in this example took a little while to get started, but it's still got a line through it. So I should take that cartridge out and wipe it off. Just going to take some water, spray it on the cloth, preferably a lint-free cloth, and deionized water. Take it from the wet area and drag it to the dry area. It helps, makes it easier to lay it down. And now we'll try the cartridge again. Don't force the cartridge all the way back into its spot. If you go to push it down, you can see it's hard to push down. Just let it sit and let the cartridge clip actually take it back to where it should be. I'll do the purge pattern again. This time, you can see no line as opposed to last time. When you're setting the print where you want it to print on the piece, in this example, you probably want, if this was an actual mailer, we'd want the address to be down a little bit lower than that. So I'm going to take the print head, loosen the knobs here, and I'm going to slide it down a little bit and lock it back in. Since this is a thin piece, I'm going to make sure this is pretty much all the way down and lock it in. That'll raise and lower my print head when these are unlocked. Stack of paper is still relatively fanned here. Stick it in. Not using the outside guide at the moment so you can see what's going on. I'll hit the test. And there's my first piece. You can see the cartridge I'm using in that head didn't start to fire right away. But if I purge the first time before I start a print job, it's always helpful to purge first, then start your print job. So I'll purge it again. Now, I'm going to go to run a test. That'll print nice. It's one of the most common things we get calls about. First piece didn't print out right nice. It's because the nozzles aren't starting to fire. Another thing to watch for is the inner guide will let you offset it. Get a lot of calls where people have taken that inner guide and moved it away from the machine. Well, your paper sensor is right above my finger down inside the machine. So it's only a little bit off the wall. And right now where my guide is, the paper would actually go through the machine and miss the sensor altogether. See, I can still see the sensor down in there. So I would never actually print a piece. If you're even on the edge of it, you don't want that. Make sure this is pretty much against the wall to a little bit out. Set in the elevator, once you have the pieces set in there, you want the elevator and this little stop here to just be picking up the piece to give it a little bit of an extra bump and help it feed.